Hi everyone! So in one of our last episodes with Jonah's salmon cooking, I mentioned Shio koji, or Jonah mentioned Shio koji. So I'm going to show you how to make it. So I bought one of these at a Japanese market, but they do have them on Amazon. It's called rice koji. It's the dry kind. So when you open it, this is a pound, but you open it. This one actually comes with instructions also. So it comes with this. It's called Cold Mountain Dried Rice Koji, but it came with how to make miso, amazake, shio koji, all kinds of stuff. So I'll just go off of this for making the shio koji, but it comes in a bag inside the tub, and it's all dried, and it's just the bacteria that you need to add to ferment and make what we need. So this is what you'll need. For the shio koji, we're going to make two things. We're going to make the shio koji and we're going to make the amazake, which literally translates to sweet sake, but it's actually not alcoholic. For number one, the shio koji, all you need is this, and water. So super easy. I guess the most important ingredient is time because you need to ferment it. So it will take about 7 to 10 days, but you just mix it together at the beginning and then you stir it once a day, every day, and then you kind of taste as you go, as you get to that end of the 7 to 10 days, and it'll get less salty and a little sweeter. It'll have a different taste, and so as it gets thicker and the rice kind of breaks down, you'll know that it's ready. I am going to actually divide this for what I need. I need 2 cups for the amazake, which I'm going to make later, and I think I'm going to do half. With whatever is remaining, I'm going to do the math to figure out what I need for it. But I've got my warm water and my salt, and it has to be sea salt is what I've read. And then you have your bag of koji. So let's get started. So it turns out it's about perfect. When I take out the 2 cups for the amazake, it leaves a little short of 11 ounces of grains left for the shio koji. So I'm going to do that. Plus, this is 400 milliliters of warm water, and then I'm going to add 5 tablespoons of sea salt. So we will just mix this together, and it's really easy. You just kind of measure in your ingredients, mix it together, and wait. So patience. Patience is important. And if you put it next to your sink or somewhere you remember to stir it, there you go. And it's supposed to be really good for you because of the fermentation, and I'm just going to mix it up. And minerals, good for your skin, all sorts of stuff. I hope that it's all true. All right, I think I've got the salt in this mixed together. All right, let's add the water. And we just wait. How easy is that? Let me just give it a stir to make sure that it's all the way to the bottom. And I just like to use a jar because then I don't have to transfer it from something else. I just put the lid on it, and once it's ready, I just store it in the fridge and take it out as we need. It's also good for pickling. It's just a simple, you put the shio koji on like cucumbers, cabbage, and that's all you do. And then you wait, and whenever you like how it tastes, it's just this lightly pickled vegetable, and it's delicious. So there's a lot of different ways to use it. You can use it for marinades. Whenever we roast vegetables, I just put some on top too. You saw the salmon. Really, it's good for a lot of things that you put salt on, or it's got a little salty and sweet flavoring. So it's really, really good. I enjoy it. I hope you try it. And let me know if you do and what you put it on and what your favorite thing is, because then maybe I can try something new too. Here it is on day 2. As you can see, the grains are still pretty large. There's not too much water covering the grains, but we will just give it a good mix, make sure we get everything in there, and then we'll cover it and kind of pound it down a little bit, shake it down so that the liquid is hopefully covering it mostly, and then we'll let it sit again for more days. Here's day 4. As you can see, it's getting more liquidy. You can still see big pieces in there, but it is getting liquidier by the day. I'm just going to give it a really good shake and put it back. We're at day 7, at the beginning of the range of when it might be ready. It's a lot liquidier, a lot more dissolved, but it still tastes pretty salty, so I'm going to leave it for a little bit longer. Day 12, it took a little bit longer than the range that I had provided before, which was the 7 to 10 days, probably because it's winter, so it's a little bit colder in our house, but it's a lot more dissolved. It's got a little more sweetness, so it is ready. Just because I think it's funny, I'll show you my fermentation corner. So here's the kombucha that I have going and the shio koji and the sourdough starter. I put it in between the hot water heater and the Instant Pot because I figure it'll give off some heat most of the time, but I don't know if that's a good assumption or not, but it's worked so far. So there it is. There's my corner of stuff that's fermenting. Okay, amazake. So last time I used white rice. This time I'm going to try it with brown rice because I think that would work too. And if it has similar nutrition, that's acquired from it, it can't be worse, right? It has to be better. So I am going to do that. I'm just grabbing a cup of rice as I don't know if you can see, it has all these different lines, but one side of it, see, it has all these lines, but it just says to do it to the porridge 1 cup line. So I'm going to put water in it until it has the porridge 1 cup line, and then we're just going to cook it. And once it's done in the rice cooker, you just push a button, right? Super easy. And once it's done, I'll cool it down to a certain temperature. It's about 140 degrees because the 125 to 140 is where you want to keep it. And so I found that it worked in our rice cooker on the keep warm feature. I just leave the lid open, I cover it with a towel. You have to come back every 2 to 3 hours just to make sure that the temperature is right. And so I will do it in the morning and then check on it every 2 to 3 hours or so, make sure that the temperature is still in that range. And if not, I kind of fan it down or I close the lid a little bit if it's getting a little too low, things like that, just to adjust a little bit. But I found that it was totally fine leaving it open, just coming by, stirring it every 2 to 3 hours, checking the temperature and waiting. And really 8 to 10 hours later, it's ready. And the smell, it just smells sweet and fragrant and wonderful. And so it's kind of a fun thing to do throughout the day and see the progress. It is sweet. It is like sugars have developed. And so you probably don't want to drink a ton of it, but it's supposed to be almost medicinal, as they say in Japanese, but it's supposed to be really good for your health, again, for your skin, for all that kind of stuff. And it tastes really good. That's why I like it. And if it's good for me, if it's sweet, it tastes good, it's good for me, why not, right? If you need some sort of comparison, if you go to a Korean restaurant and at the end they give you like that sweet rice drink, it almost is like that. Not exactly, but to give you just an idea of what it's kind of like. For those of you that know what I'm talking about, that's what it reminds me of. So give it a try. I'll put some water in here, put it in the rice cooker, and I'll show you how I put in all the other stuff. So I put the water into the 1 cup porridge line, and we will just hit start. And then we wait for it to cook. The rice is ready, so we will open this up and we'll measure the temperature to begin with. So it's a little high right here. You can tell, 159. So I'm going to put some cold water and cool it down to about 140. We'll start with that. Take it out, do a mix. I'll bring it closer so you can see. I'll hold it here. I'm gonna mix it up, mix it up, mix it up. And you'll see the steam coming off of it. All right, let me get all of it off the bottom. And I think I'm going to need some more, but let's just measure it because we don't want to go too low. Yep, still high. So let's add a little more cold water. Okay. Looks good, 138, that is in the range. You just don't want it above 140 because then you might kill the bacteria that we want. Okay, so there we go. Take that out, and then just so you can see, that's what it looks like. Kind of porridgey there. And then we're going to take our koji here and just dump it in. And this is all broken up. If it wasn't broken up, just break up the pieces. I think there's a different brand that I used last time where it wasn't quite broken up. And then you just want to mix it all in. Oops, the whole rice cooker's moving. Okay. And that's it. So my rice cooker typically stays on keep warm after it finishes cooking, but just in case, I'm going to reset that and then put it on keep warm. And then I will leave it open, but I will cover it with a cloth. Just take any cloth, a clean cloth. I'll scrape every bit in right here. Right, and I'll come back later to stir this up every 2 or 3 hours anyway, and to check on how it's doing. But now I'll just take this, cover it up, and wait. It's been 2 hours, so let's check this temperature to make sure it's still in the range that we want. It's at 136, so that's in the 125 to 140 that we want. So we'll keep going. It's been 7 hours, and if you look at it, it's a lot more liquidier. It smells sweeter. It tastes sweeter. This is exactly what we want. The brown rice one is a little grainier, so it's like you're chewing a lot more, but that's also part of the nutrients, right? So here we are. It's good to go. I want it to stop cooking since it is ready, and so I am going to just bottle it up into my mason jar over here. Maybe a funnel would be a smarter way to do it, but I'm going to try to be careful putting it in. It is hot, so use a towel or an oven mitt or something to hold on to this pot. But we are going to carefully scoop it all in, and look at that. It perfectly fits into this jar. Thank goodness. Otherwise, I may have just had to drink some right now. Some people like to dilute it because it is pretty sweet, and so you can drink it as is, or you can dilute it in some water or some warm water. You don't want to make it too hot because then you might kill some of the good healthy bacteria for your gut. But here it is. It's delicious. Please try it and let me know if you do.